Awards were announced this week for the ISMA MSS series. Of course, those are winged supers that are pretty much here in the Northeast. The Rookie of the Year this year is 27-year-old Tyler Shullick. He had 5 starts this past season, ended up 17th in the point standings, and he is a very interesting guy. Not only does he do what he did with the winged supers, he's experienced in regular super modifieds, ran the Classic twice. He's run also 305 and 410 sprints. The 410s were new this year. He's driven IMCA pavement mods. He's done a small block super, indoor 600 sprints. And, of course, he started at quarter midgets when he was young, was a 2-time USAC champ. But where he is right now, he is actually out at Thorsport. He is the car chief for Ty Majeski. Tyler Shullick, your ISMA MSS Rookie of the Year, joins us. Tyler, how are we doing today?
I'm great. Good to hear from you, Doug.
Nice to finally get a chance to chat with you on the phone. So how was it this past season? You had a couple of races, like we said, in the Super, but the Wing Super, what was it like moving up to that and racing with ISMA and MSS?
It was a pleasure. I had a blast with it this summer. I got to kind of talking with AJ and Jonathan over the winter, and AJ shot me a text before the Triple Crown at Lorraine, and we kind of put something together to go race, and, I thought we ran really well once we got our issues handled.
And of course, he's right near Sandusky, Ohio, so obviously was this something that was a long-term goal, something you always wanted to do, was to get in behind the wheel of a winged super?
Absolutely. That's what I grew up watching my dad and cousin race, and, it's just... that was the first thing I fell in love with, in the racing world, was a super modified, and I still believe there's nothing really like it. So absolutely, any chance I can get in a super modified wing or non-wing, I'm going to do it.
And obviously, you recognize the Shullick last name. Pat Shullick is his dad. Dave is his great uncle. So what was that like, going from a non-winged super to one with the wing on top?
It was quite a big of a jump. There was some similarities, but the top wing puts a Band-Aid on a lot of things. So, I really had to step up and really learn how to drive it and trust the top wing that it was going to do what everybody said it was going to do.
A lot of people talk about how much deeper you can go in, but you had also told me it's not necessarily that it will hold when you drive in deeper, but it's also middle and out of the corner is where you notice a big difference.
Yeah, it definitely helps getting in the corner and honestly anywhere, and it just it makes you almost feel like Superman when you when you have clean air and you can really drive off in there and know that top wing is gonna grab the car, and it really opens up the door to how you can drive the car and how you can manipulate the air.
Of course, you're familiar with winged cars, and a lot of guys have told me too that, and I know this is a big thing with sprint cars, if you get in somebody's dirty air, you get up too close to them, it can really affect you going into the corner.
Absolutely. Especially in the dirt world, I've learned that, you're so on edge in a dirt car that you get tucked up behind somebody with a top wing, and it's almost like the wing's gone. And, in the super world, the same way. You notice a little bit in the non-wing cars, but especially in the top wing, with the ISMA series, on restarts when everybody's packed up and trying to get what they can get, you lose downforce in a hurry, and it's all over before you know it.
Another thing somebody told me, too, is, and you were talking about corner entrance, they say you better get brave really fast in a winged car or they're just going to drive right around you.
Absolutely. I noticed that a lot at Oswego. You can drive off in there, until you forget where you're at, and it's, and it handles it more than, obviously more than the non-wing cars. With the little tail wing, you notice that it's back there and it helps, but the top wing on the ISMA cars is hard to explain how much of a crutch that, it really puts on those cars.
So you did 5 races. What were the 5 tracks you raced at this year, or 5 events, excuse me?
The Triple Crown at Lorraine was 3 features. I ran 1 at Berlin and then 1 at Oswego.
Okay. Do you tend to be a guy that like short tracks, bigger tracks? What do you prefer? Or is it, as long as it's a racetrack, we'll go have some fun?
I mean, I'll never turn down any racetrack, but I've always grown up and seemed like I've enjoyed the bull rings better. The old wore-out, banked, tracks where handling comes into effect real quick, and it's more in the driver's hands.
And the other thing, too, is you have to learn the drivers a little bit because drivers tend to have tendencies. What was it like racing with the drivers who'd been doing these series for quite some time?
I really, really enjoyed it. I knew a little bit of the drivers just being around as a kid and growing up and, and watching and getting to race with the people that, you idolized or, enjoyed watching when you were a kid. But the ISMA series, they're all diehard racers and everybody races with a ton of respect. The cars are very delicate. They're very fast, and a lot of the places they go are extremely fast. So you almost have to race with a different mindset of, having respect for everybody in a new manner of, open wheel and how fast you are going and how fast things can get out of hand.
And you mentioned the key two words right there, open wheel. This is not like where we have fenders where we can lean on somebody. You really do have to be careful. You could be in big trouble real fast.
It really gets carried out of hand in a hurry. And the top wings, they help, keep the car planted, but, it's the same thing as any other thing. It either get tight or you get loose in traffic, and, you just have to, prepare yourself for that when you get around people to, give them that extra inch, in case something, you do get loose or get tight, and we're all friends. You don't want to see anybody get torn up or hurt. So, everybody races with a ton of respect.
Were there a few guys that you did actually grow up racing or, idolizing, and then that you got in the car and said, wow, I can't believe I'm racing this guy?
A few of them, yeah. I've watched Otto race, when I ran the small block supers at Oswego many, many times. So I got to race with him. That was really cool. There's a ton of them that, you watch growing up for years and years. As I watched my dad, and they've always been around, and it was really cool just to get to, race around those guys.
Of course, nobody starts in something big like that. For Tyler, it was quarter midgets. He was a 3-time USAC champ. He did that from age 5 to 14. How long did it take you to get the hang of the USAC cars, the quarter midgets?
I fought pretty fairly quickly. I started as soon as I knew what was going on. 4 to 5 years old, Dad had me running in the backyard, and as soon as I showed enough interest, Dad, bought a couple cars, and we traveled along for a long time. And we had a lot of fun, and I felt like that was, what started me and my dad's bond of, racing together and having fun with it. So it's just always continued on from there.
I always encourage people that are interested to get their kids started early. And the one thing you mentioned is the bond. It's not so much the time at the track, but it's the drive there, the drive back, the conversations during the week. It really, I think, helps a family kind of grow together, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And my mom was involved just as much as anybody. She was always making sure the trailer was clean, or, we had food, or, she would drive the motorhome through the night, if me and Dad had to, Dad had to work and I had to go to school, and, Mom would help drive through the night, and, I don't know how many nights spent in the shop, just me and Dad, trying to figure out something new or different, or, just trying to get to the racetrack from one week to the next.
Was there a moment when you started to really get it, and because a lot of guys will tell me that like at a certain year, all of a sudden now they just started winning races rather than just running? When did that happen for you?
I would say maybe 2018, 2019. We things just started to click, and we started to rattle off some wins. In the modified, and then we won one on Oswego, and then we went indoors and won some, and then we decided to kind of change routes and went sprint car racing, and we picked up a win the next year, and it just, ever since then, it's kind of seemed like, things have clicked.
Of course, he works for ThorSport, like we said, the car chief. What is that job like?
Busy, very busy, but I enjoy it. I learn a lot here that I think translates to what I do on the weekends when I'm home, and it's helped me build connections with people here, and, that have benefited me, and great friendships, and one of my best friends I've met here, and he works in my shop and on the race car as much as I do. So it's been very beneficial, and there's a lot of great people that work here at ThorSport, and I truly enjoy it.
A little over a minute left at this point. Where would you like to be, say, 5-10 years down the road?
It's always been my dream to drive race cars for a living. In this day and age, it's tough to do. It's very tough to do. But if that's dirt or asphalt, or, I'm always open to any opportunity given, to drive. So if something opens up, I'm always willing to drive and, make the most of it.
It is the ultimate what have you done for me lately job, though, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's good meeting you. And again, when you're watching Ty Majeski out there, he won't be there this weekend. They got some air tunnel things they're going to be doing. But Tyler, great to meet you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see you on the tour next year, I hope.
Yeah, I'm exploring some opportunities. I don't know what next year holds for me at this point, but we'll see here in the next coming months, and hopefully we're back with ISMA and some dirt racing and race as much as we can.
Your Rookie of the Year, Tyler Shullick. Now you a little bit more about it. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the notifications, and all that good stuff, as we'll be doing a lot of ISMA MSS stuff here over the next few weeks.